Dark. Stats. Ryung. GuMiho.
And we're back. We're now ready to go on to the winners match and see who will move on to the round of 8 here in the GSL. Dark versus GuMiho. I'm calling this one for Dark. I would love to see GuMiho cause an upset and win, as he's done before in his own unique GuMiho-ish fashion. But man, you know, Dark, he might be the best player in the whole tournament, to be honest.
It does kind of feel like that. It's either Dark or Mario, certainly. These guys are just perennial championship contenders here in the GSL and also around the world. So,
not to mention, like, when you look at the interview with that we had before we went live, or back, you know, over here. I don't know why I can't talk right now.
That's okay.
But it was funny to see Dark and how he talks about stats.
Yeah, I think
he's like, I would be so embarrassed if I lost his stats. I'm like, in my mind, I feel like stats is so good, and I was so excited to have him back. But I guess, I mean, he would know too. I mean, he's definitely got his finger on the pulse of how good everybody is.
It's just his form, I think. I mean, stats is going to be back in full form. I would say probably within like another CODES or two.
I think he needs a couple more months. I think you're probably right. I think it's the way that he plays is kind of hard to pull off. We're gonna go to Royal Blood. Oh, and what is that behind him? Is that an air purifier?
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that an ion cannon? Is that a PlayStation 6? Is that what they look like? All right, guys, we're ready to get into this game. Remember that in this best of 3, the winner will move on to the round of 8. The loser will go on to the final match. Dark vs. GuMiho starts now. Starts now.
DKZ Gaming. Dark.
Really is going to take a while to get used to the new transition timings, man.
Yeah. We got to fix this lighting in this room.
It might just be the webcam. You know how sometimes they're odd about the way they pick up different like luminosity.
I had in my stream room, like I had these lights I bought that I would install them in my bookshelf, and it was supposed to be purple. And then when I put it on camera, it's pink. It just comes out pink, and people are like, why do you have pink lights in your room? I'm like, they're not pink, but the camera thinks it's pink, and it's just people making fun of me for weeks and weeks and weeks.
Nothing wrong with having pink lights.
I know.
Oh,
I tell my chat, I'm like, you think girls can't game? Is that what you're trying to tell me?
Pink's a good color, man. I like the color pink.
It's a good t-shirt color, actually, too.
Good color on Protoss.
Yeah, pink looks good on Protoss. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. But then I changed my lights out. Now they're red. So we're going more of a satanic vibe now. Yeah.
I'm interested in seeing GuMiho go for this.
He's doing Bjorn's play. So we talked about this last week, where Bjorn mentioned that this is kind of the new style. It's basically like a 3 Reaper.
It's a little different.
But, hold on, he's making a Marine.
Yeah, the gas was taken later here, so it's not exactly what Bjorn is doing, but it has a lot of the similar ideas. So I'm wondering what the unit set is going to be here for GuMiho. I don't know. This is kind of a creative, offbeat opening, and not the way that I would have expected from GuMiho, because these aren't mech units. But yeah, we'll see what happens here. Looks like he's just going to save up. Is he going to build a factory? Is this a 1-base build?
I'm so confused as to what's happening right now.
I'm a little
Oh, he's going to run out here and kill this Overlord, which that's kind of cool.
Yeah, so that's going to be a nice catch. All right, his minerals are going up, so I think that gas going down means that he did build a factory. Up on the production tab, factory is in production, so it's going to be
gold coins.
2 racks into a factory into a CC. So kind of an interesting approach here.
Yeah, and he, obviously he is expanding. We have a Roach Warren coming down. Whenever you see a Roach Warren, it can be hard to tell, like, is this actually a rush, or is he just like getting a Roach Warren so that he's safe against a rush against him? We'll see the actual outcome of that in a little bit here.
I think this is going to be a rush. Just looking at the way the gas is stockpiling, that's a lot of roaches. Makes me think that he's also going to want to make some Ravagers, and especially with the Lings coming in here on the add-on. Ooh, the reactor gets canceled.
Yeah, that's pretty ugly, by the way. I mean, that's not... That's definitely not good for what is going to be a very unique build. A reactor takes a long time to make. He can take these Marines and try to sidestep these Queens that are damaging him, but I don't know that he will. Okay, he does get away with all 4 Marines. The Hellion could chase these Lings out, so I guess if he wants to, that reactor can finally start. But we have 7 Roaches, and especially in this spot, the add-ons are kind of sticking out.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, you got to be tempted to run in here and hit this, right? I mean, it seems like you could get your Roaches and Ravagers here and actually just kill the Tech Lab before Stim finishes or Concussive Shell. I mean, whatever they're going to get, right? You could come in there and get that. Now, we have the Roaches being made, and I think we've seen Ragnarok and Solar do this a little bit. It's like this style where they just like make a couple Roaches and throw it at you while they drone behind it.
Yeah, I think this is going to go really well.
I think so too. Yeah.
GuMiho just threw down a 3rd CC, and he's going for a Banshee instead of a siege tank.
Yeah, so the Banshee will kill it, but I mean, this is going to be a lot of damage that's dealt here before this can really be sorted.
Yeah, I mean, this has the potential to do a ton of damage, and of course, Dark can also macro behind this at home as he's building Queens or he's doing drone production. This is just going to really bog down the Terran player, and this Marauder should make it a little bit easier for GuMiho to micro.
Yeah.
Oh, he doesn't even have Concussive Shell. Oh, this is an issue.
No, this is like really bad actually. And he's taking every weak Roach and he turns that into a Ravager. The Bile connects. A lot of SCVs being killed right now, guys.
This might, I mean, I don't think GuMiho's going to tap out, but
I don't think he'll leave,
like
but this feels bad. I think he needed to be more committed to actually preventing, the break-in at the front, but he just wasn't really prepared for this much to come at him. This is 14 kills, man. All right,
yeah,
GG.
That's just going to be it. So GuMiho will tap out.
Now that's what I call a game of StarCraft.
Yeah, that was a that was a quick one here for Dark as he is speed running his way through Group C. We've had two Nidus, a proxy hatchery, and a Roach bust, which wasn't even fully all in.
It wasn't an all-in.
No.
I mean, it's like a little timing attack.
It was a greed check is what it was. And
I like the way you put that. That's a good way to put it. It's a greed check. Like he gets in there, and it's like, all right, you don't have a siege tank. You don't have concussive. And you could see GuMiho was like so pulled back that he wasn't even like repairing the entrance. And then like once it gets in, it's like, oh, well, now all your workers die.
Yeah, and the Biles were able to connect. Just nothing really went GuMiho's way. And, GuMiho kind of plays a little bit more of a greedy TVZ style than a lot of other Terrans. He loves to throw down a very fast 3rd command center. So, Dark just riding the momentum in that first series and, keeping the pedal to the metal here with some more aggression.
Yeah, it's, I don't know. I just look at that early game, and I guess you make a good point. Like, GuMiho has like a weird style, and he's always doing something a little bit different. But I think part of the reason why he gets away with that is he does cut so many corners, and so it's a very basic way to just go kill him. Just send Roaches there, and look, we've seen those rushes get held, and normally the game goes on. But if you're just really being super greedy, I mean, there's just not a whole lot you can do. We're gonna go to Neo Humanity here for map 2.
Yeah, we'll see if GuMiho can turn this around, but so far today, Dark just seems like an absolute killer, man. I mean, his series against Stats was a bloodbath, and now game 1 here against GuMiho as well. Perfect greed check, able to eliminate him with what was, frankly, one of the more modest Roach rushes that we've seen here in the GSL. GuMiho just a little bit too greedy.
Let's see if he dies to 7 Roaches. Let's go, game 2. Loading up, Neo Humanity. Right now, Dark looking unstoppable, unless we've got a real plot twist coming up here in our next game.
DKZ Gaming, Dark.
Oh, hold on. Is there an SCV moving out on the map? Yeah.
Ooh, good catch.
Yeah, so this is going to be
GuMiho,
a proxy double racks. Will we have a 3rd SCV come out? That's what I'm wondering. Both are fine. By the way, I feel like I never see Dark die to these rushes.
No, he usually doesn't.
He's put the command centers pretty far back I'm sorry, command centers. He's put the barracks, pretty far back as well.
This is so far away.
Which means it's not going to be spotted, but the problem with that is Marines are actually surprisingly slow. It's easy in the early game, at least. It's easy to forget that because most of the time we see them stimmed and or we see medevacs scooping them up and moving around. But when you really watch Marines move on the map, they're actually some of the slowest units in the whole game. So that travel time is pretty big. Now, this may work, in fact, because Dark just isn't going to see this. But I've seen so many games, both Dark and Rogue, where like they just get blindsided with a rush and still hold it perfectly. Oh, wow.
Dark is so good, man. We're getting GuMiho like a book.
Yeah, we might be going to our losers match sooner than I thought. This is the saddest feeling, like when the SCV now sees the Overlord, and you're like, oh, no.
Oof.
Oh, no, you're going to stop my cheese.
If Dark stops this, I mean, this might be one of the fastest actual single playthroughs of a GSL group in a while, considering how fast the series versus stats was. And all right, let's see. Some drones getting pulled now. Actually, a lot of drones getting pulled. Is Dark right now with a 500 mineral bank is just going to be using that to produce 2 queens and 8 lings, which does not want to let a bunker get deployed here for GuMiho.
So yeah, the idea is to keep as many drones alive as possible while curbing the progress of the rush. The queen is kind of the linchpin to hold everything together for the Zerg. The bunker's going to finish. Is that bunker actually in range of the hatchery? I think it is, but it looks a little bit far away, so I'm not totally sure.
I think it's barely in range. Is now Dark coming in with the lings of the drones, trying to get surround on the Marines, just barely missing it. GuMiho, these are some slippery Marines, man. Focusing, firing down the Zerglings as well. Is actually GuMiho with a great start here. He might be doing this.
Yeah, and the problem now is that these drones can't get back home, so he's going to use the drones to basically intercept the Marines as they come in. So he's got 11 workers, but he's realistically actually has less than that, because these are basically running interference in the middle of the map like we're seeing here. He did have to pull back because there's just enough Marines. It's probably not worthwhile to do that. And I was right. It's actually not in range. Okay,
you were right.
So this is like...
oh, man, these drones, they can't get back home. They're going to have to mine the gold minerals to try and get back.
Yeah.
That might just be it.
Yeah, I mean, the idea with a rush like this is that you actually are shooting the hatchery inside the bunker, and the Zerg has to kind of all in on top of the bunker in order to save the hatch, but it's not happening. He's making one more spine crawler, and I think what he's going to do is just come out of range of the bunker and start to hit it. The spine will outrange that bunker.
But there's only something like 6 or 7 drones mining right now, so the production here for GuMiho with these 3 barracks is actually way better than Dark's. And you got to think that, even if that bunker is out of range, these Marines, they probably are going to be able to take down that hatchery, and even if they don't, I mean, they're going to snowball so well against slow Zerglings, queens, and 2 spines. I feel like GuMiho could still take it. I mean, look at the supplies.
Yeah, well, I mean, Zerg's not in great shape, but oh, that was sick.
That's a nice surround there for Dark.
Yeah.
Those Marines were split off, but the reinforcements come in, and...
Yeah, I mean, the truth is also these Marines can't really be... Oh, hold on a second. He's going to maybe get the hatchery?
I think he probably will. And
he needs to move that other spine there. Okay, he's going to come down and try to get this spine crawler. Can he actually transfuse that? I guess he can, barely.
Dude, this one's barely out of energy for transfuse.
This is such a weird game.
I mean, Dark just didn't have enough mining after that. He kind of botched the early game defense a little bit.
That's it, GG. Okay, GuMiho takes that game.
Yeah, GuMiho wins game number 2, and a build that I wasn't really expecting to see out of him.
Yeah, who needs bunkers in a range of hatcheries?
Yeah.
He's still got it done. That really gives you an appreciation for how long it takes for his spine crawler to burrow.
It does take a long time.
It's like a little bit painful to watch. All right, so we're tied up 1-1. The spine crawler's like, gotta try to get in there.
Man, that was some nice micro there from GuMiho with the SCVs and the Marines. I was mostly focused on Dark trying to get this around with the drones and the Zerglings, because that's really what he's angling for, with that swarm of units coming out to intercept the first batch of Marines. But actually, GuMiho, like the way that he was stutter stepping, the directional stutter stepping, plus focus that firing down all of the Zerglings, just eliminated all the DPS from that army. And that bunker, although it didn't hit the hatch, was able to deny those drones from ever possibly getting back home.
Yeah, I mean, once the drones were stuck out there, it's like, just even having 3 extra drones at home, 4 extra drones at home is a huge game changer. We're now going to go to map 3, and what's just been rapid fire game after game after game. Is Dark going to cheese or GuMiho cheese? We'll see. I would not mind having a long TVZ. Anyways, guys, that game is loaded up. Let's do this and find out who's going to be the first survivor of Group C to move on to the round of 8 here this week in the GSL CODAS.
DKZ Gaming, Dark. GuMiho.
Another gasless build here for GuMiho.
Yeah, let's see. Is he going to make a barracks here, or is he going to maybe go command center first? We've seen.
First.
Yeah, it looks like it. I get it.
Yeah, that's cool. This feels like almost like best of 7 game planning here in a best of 3.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
you mix in like the proxy 3 racks and you go for a CC first.
No, I like it. I think this makes a lot of sense. Why would you not do something like this?
That's cool. I'm a big fan of this as well, and hopefully we get a little bit of a longer game here from Dark, because I somehow combined that into just one word. As you know, he's just been speedrunning here through Group C. I mean, he's 1 map away from advancing to the round of 8 here at the GSL Code S. But every single map has been over so quick. Against Stats, we had those 2 Nidus Canals and a Proxy Hatchery. Against GuMiho, I mean, the last game was over in what felt like a minute. So I'm right there with you. I would not mind for this one to go a little bit longer. But we'll see what Dark has up his sleeves, man. He's been feeling spicy today. A lot of aggression coming out from him.
You know, one thing about Dark, even compared to all the other pros we have, is he's oozing with confidence.
Yeah.
Like, he's so very sure of his ability and kind of where he sees everybody else's skill at. It's impressive to see, to be honest. But, you know, we go into this game here. This is a build order slight advantage. You know, you go command center first, and you just, you know, the Zerg can't really punish you. Or if there's a way to punish it, we haven't seen it yet. Now, what kind of 2 base CC first build is this going to be? We've seen actually a lot of variations of it. And for a while, it was just like a setup for a 2 base push to try to smash the Zerg as they're, you know, in between the 3rd base and the 4th base. But that seems to have dwindled in popularity. So I don't know if Zergs just know how to deal with that now, and so the Terrans just take their advantage and direct the game into a different way, maybe taking a 3rd command center earlier as well.
Yeah, and I also feel like that's not really GuMiho's style here in TBZ. I feel like it's more likely that we're going to see GuMiho go for, there it is, the 3rd command center already getting thrown down. Yeah, this is more of his speed. I mean, what I imagine here from GuMiho is that he's going to be just trying to expand rapidly, similar to the way that he did in his earlier series, even though that was a TBT.
So this is a pretty quick 3rd command center.
Yeah.
And, you know, I do wonder now, is there a way that Zerg can punish this? And part of me is thinking that because of the Nidus networks that we saw there. You know, it seems like you can't always just get 3 CCs like that for free. But on this map, I mean, is Zerg going to scout that 3rd command center? I don't see any way that he can do that. So it may just go unpunished.
Yeah, the gas income also here for Dark is quite low, just slow and steady, focusing on the minerals, focusing on droning. So I doubt that we're going to see anything too crazy from him as the mid-game starts to develop. And ooh, nice positioning there. Almost caught this Reaper. Just 2 hits away, I think. So that one's going to skirt away of danger. And, okay, it's going to be a Viking here. And
Viking and Cloak. That's kind of funny.
Cloak.
Is that a mistake? I mean, maybe you just want the Viking to clear Overlords and then get the Banshee later?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I don't know.
I have seen GuMiho in some TVCs recently just go for 1 Cloak Banshee. But I haven't seen him go for Viking and a Cloak. Maybe this is Viking to shoo away the Overlords and then 1 Banshee after that, and then you go back into medevac production or something along those lines. But yeah, we'll see exactly what it's going to be. As I think Cloak actually, I think it canceled? I don't think it finished.
Huh.
I don't know, GuMiho with a little bit of indecision. Or
you know, the set, double armory.
Gotta be mech. Who cares about Cloak Banshees?
Okay, I get it. It's basically like until he kills that Overlord, he has Cloak going. So that if somebody scouts him, they're like, Cloak. Okay.
Yeah, that might be it. You're probably right, actually.
And so then, you know, the reality is he's going to go for mech. So I think I've like maybe casted this type of game like 2 times, and I think both of them were GuMiho, or maybe 1 time Special did it. I think I actually did see Special do this once, or something similar. It was like a 3-base mech play. I don't know what to make of it, to be honest with you. I mean, I think it's fun, it's cool, it's different. My general concern is you know, the theme of the matchup that seems to be the issue for Terrans is that eventually Zergs get too much of the map and kind of just drag the game out and force the Terran to figure out how to win from there, because the Zerg can just gobble up so many resources and keep Terran in their little small quadrant on the map. And it just seems to me like mech builds like this can lend that position to the Zerg even more easily. But remember that GuMiho does have a lot of kind of unconventional mech games. Well, I'm saying that, but he's making tanks, so maybe not. But I was going to say, we've seen these games where he gets like a bunch of Cyclones and moves out, and it's like a little bit more of an active play.
I think he probably still will mix in some Cyclones. We'll see exactly how that factory setup goes. But yeah, GuMiho in a lot of his recent TVZs has been playing something more of like a battle mech style into what almost looks like a Boxar army of like Thors and battle cruisers and siege tanks and like landed Vikings and stuff like that. And I think we might see something about that speed here again. Yeah, first Cyclone in production now, so it seems like GuMiho is going to slowly begin to work his way up for that. And GuMiho, in a lot of his TVZs, even against Dark in recent games, he kind of has tried to solve the problem that you're describing of the Zerg expanding and just consuming the entire map by expanding very rapidly himself. And as I say that, throwing down a 4th command center right now is GuMiho. As, yeah, he is not shy about trying to basically Zerg on his side of the map to the best of his abilities. And kind of use a small battle mech task force in the middle to just have presence, keep the creep under control. Potentially apply a little bit of pressure to some exposed bases. But there is a Spire coming out here for Dark, so we'll see exactly how he decides to go about approaching this. I'm not sure if this is going to be a lot of mutas or if this is going to be a small amount and then transition into something like, I don't know, maybe we'll see Broodlords by like the 12-minute mark or something like that as part of Dark's road plan here. But yeah, this is kind of GuMiho's comfort zone. I mean, anytime you see GuMiho with this many factories, he is in his happy place.
Yeah, you know, it's cool. I mean, he's always just not really cared what other Terrans are trying to do and kind of figured out his own way, which I really respect, because I think especially, this is especially too earlier on in the days in Korea, but you know, it'd be like a couple guys figuring everything out and then everybody's copying them, and he's just sort of managed to get his own approach, which shows that he's got a mind that kind of can figure this stuff out on his own. And yeah, I mean, this is going to be a fun one. I think it should be actually a pretty long game as well, unless we've got some surprises here.
It definitely has the potential to be. These Mutalisks, if they cause too many problems here for GuMiho, might be the only thing that could imagine that would speed this one up. Is we only just now have our first Thor in production, about a third of the way done.
This is funny. They almost went right by each other.
Yeah. I think if you're GuMiho, you actually wish that Dark would go and chase down that Banshee so that your Thor has time to finish producing.
Yeah, you might be right about that. Another little attack in over here, and you know, the Cyclones are going to be able to chase the mutas away, but I think honestly this is already kind of bad. Oh, okay, the Thor comes out.
Yeah, Thor's out, so GuMiho will eventually stabilize. He is going to take damage from this, but it's not going to be game-ending damage, and with the cost efficiency of these mech armies, GuMiho should have, if he's able to stabilize correctly, a lot of opportunities later in the game. Is Dark actually magic boxing the refinery there for GuMiho? Nice move. GuMiho should have a lot of opportunities later in the game as his supply continues to build to start to close the gap.
He's just going to max out on Roach, Ravager, Ling. I'm curious how this goes. I think that he might be able to just punt this 4th command center away again. You know, there's, excuse me. The thing is, there's enough Ravagers. I think he just guns down every single tank.
He might be able to. Ravagers now coming in, backing off a little bit, as there's a lot of firepower here with this mech army. 2-2-4 vehicle weapons about to complete. Starkey's going to back away from this position, but keep in mind he is maxed. Hive Tech also underway, so wouldn't be surprised if we saw a Greater Spire and potentially also Vipers.
Yeah.
Getting added into the mix soon. Armor Shredding Missile coming down. I like this.
Is he actually going to commit in here?
He's still going to commit.
Yeah. I felt like that was supposed to queue up the Zerg to leave, but he's like, no, I'm actually just going to do this. Remember that there are no tanks here, at least not yet. So, like, this is a lot of damage that's being dished out here. We've already had 7 SCVs be killed. He's continuing to make Lings and Roaches and Ravagers and everything else. So he forced a liftoff, which is already a little bit of a victory. And there's a Nidus network that started again. So I think the idea is the Terran is going to spend so much energy trying to get this 3rd base here secured that then he just makes a Nidus inside the main and probably, you know, kills him from inside out.
Yeah, I imagine Dark sees this low siege tank count and wants to play the mobility game a little bit here with the Nidus Canals, because if siege tanks aren't in position at all these different bases to actually prevent those from going up, it could quickly become a headache here for GuMiho. But this is the power of Battle Mech, is being able to take a little bit of map control back. And I say that, and then Dark just continues to attack in here. He's feeling so aggressive today.
Yeah, I mean,
so
I think
confident.
It's just how fluid your position can be. But I mean, the truth is, I feel like, you know, we're watching GuMiho barely hang on right now, and I don't know how quickly Battle Mech can actually get back into the main.
Well, he's starting to add in more siege tanks, so there is an opportunity here for GuMiho to begin to stabilize a little bit more as we have some more trades coming in. Mostly Hellions getting traded out for Roaches, so nothing too important really changing hands, but this will free up some supply for Dark. We don't have the production tab open right now, so I'm not sure exactly how he is spending that newly available supply, but Greater Spire is underway, so Broodlords will be the play here for Dark eventually.
So, I mean, he made the Nidus. Did we ever have a Nidus worm pop up somewhere? I don't see it.
No, not yet.
I guess he has to get vision of the main if he's going to send it there. Maybe he could use those mutas. Well, could have.
It's unfortunate timing for them.
So this Overlord's probably going to be where the Nidus is going to be set up. Could be over here in the natural. At this point in time, Zerg is now going to start to accumulate a lot more of Vespian gas. We probably have Broodlords inbound as well. Seeing the double spires, one Greater Spire as well, coming along. Zerg is also going to continue to swallow up the rest of the map.
Yeah, I would imagine we're going to have one big engagement where Dark's going to trade out a lot of these units and then remax on Broodlords. And he's already getting Infestors as well. But with Battle Mech, GuMiho going to try and apply a little bit of pressure here. And Dark, quick to respond though, will be able to force those units back home. And GuMiho, to his credit, he has a lot of bases back at home right now, but he's not really been able to fortify his position enough to actually turn them into proper mining bases. They're just kind of macro orbitals sitting in his main base for the time being. I mean, GuMiho, for what it's worth, he is continuing to power up. I don't know exactly what the Thor count is, but he's had quite a few in production. 2 more being added to the mix. Should be at least 5 once they're done.
So, you know, he hasn't really done anything with the Nidus. He hasn't really attacked in. Now Terran's going to try to push out. It's just hard for me to imagine a game where this is going to succeed, right? I mean, Zerg is going to run and maybe can't deal with this now, but eventually you can just start to hurl units after units after units on top of this and continue to remax. Both sides actually spiking up in both minerals and Vespian gas.
All right, Car coming in from 2 different sides right now on the engagement. These siege tanks spread a little bit too thin. Some of them even unsieged, so GuMiho going to have to vacate the position, save the Thors, and we'll see Dark remax probably on something to get ready to break down this spot. There's actually more Ravagers coming in, more Biles. I was expecting him to back off and maybe more some Broods, but instead he's happy to just kind of continue to press forward here.
Yeah, well, I think he's just seeing what else he can get away with and take this out. I do want to point out that GuMiho is kind of doing what he needed to do. Like, he is going to just continue to mine from his side of the map.
Oh, that's going to be the play. A lot of drop overlords over here, so I imagine we're going to see a big drop in the main base, and that's when the Nidus is going to pop.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that makes sense, too. I didn't expect it to be comboed together. I kind of thought it was going to be just Nidus or just drop, but yeah, that's a good point. Inside the main, there is a Thor. I think that's really more preventative for mutas. I don't know how that's going to fare against that drop itself. But, you know, GuMiho is, you know, starting to kind of consume a decent amount of the resources here on the map. We're going to have that come out now. We have the Nidus Worm actually starting outside of the base.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, Nidus Canal popping.
What am I watching here? This is the worst drop I've ever seen in my whole life.
Yeah, this will...
It's just the Thor no-scoping ling after ling after ling.
Yeah, man, Thors, they pack a punch, and GuMiho is a big Thor enjoyer. I mean, he's got so many of these things. And, you know, I haven't seen a lot of Broodlords since they got that modest speed buff, and
yeah,
they're pretty quick. All right, well, Dark going to start sieging down what is the 4th base here for GuMiho, as the Thors are a little bit out of position, can't really deflect this quite yet.
Yeah, now he's over on the high ground. This is, you know, one of the unfortunate features of this expansion is, like, you can kind of just loom over this.
Oh, this is what the Nidus is for, too.
Yeah.
Dark is so good.
We're basically seeing the build up to what Dark wanted to execute over here. Now, the only base that's really viable outside of this one is the one that's just to the right, a little bit up.
Yeah, that top right expansion. So we do have some doors getting dropped forward to try and pick off these Broodlords as they do pack a wall up here. A lot of those Broods going down, and we do have Neuroparasite also coming in on the Thors. Actually, Tsu getting possessed there, so that's going to be GuMiho losing a sizable chunk of his army as the Thors go to ham on the Thors and the Broodlords take down.
It's Thor versus Thor.
Yeah.
But yeah, those eventually fall, and you know, Dark is just going to continue to accumulate more and more. Remember that these mech units don't build quickly. Certainly not as quick as these Zerg units. So at the end of the day, it's like, you know, how long is it going to take to refresh all these Thors and get them back in here? It's going to be a while. In the meanwhile, there's going to be a lot more Roaches and Ravagers coming.
Yeah, more Roaches and Ravagers coming in. Feels like GuMiho's army is almost entirely Thors at this point, as he has a dwindling number of siege tanks, just a handful, and a lot of command centers to his credit, but I mean, not much else really going his way. I feel like that last engagement, especially with the Neural Parasites, took so much of the firepower away from GuMiho, and now at 145 supply, it's going to be ages before he hits max again. I personally don't even think Dark is going to give him the breathing room to do it. Every
once in a while we get a game where Terrans play like this, and I do have to kind of do my little spiel again. Like, this is why we don't see this as often. It just doesn't seem to directly address the problems the Terran face against Zerg, right? You can kind of last for a little bit longer, but like someone like Dark is going to basically build up to all the right tech, all the right upgrades, and then set up something that's going to be so formidable off of the few bases that you have. Dark's bases are being untouched this whole game, essentially. Right. And you know, it's this whole, it's like this weird way to play where it's like you're just trying to not die. Almost like one of those weird campaign levels where it's like survive for 30 minutes against the Zerg.
Yeah, that is what it feels like right now for GuMiho.
And it's like, it's just not happening, you know? Like, where in the world is when in the world would the Zerg come out, I'm sorry, the Terran come out and like push and win? Like, probably never, right? And so that's what we're seeing here. It's just, this is just not a great way. Hey, look, the moment that you know, Terran tries to fortify that spot, then there's another opening somewhere else. So I don't know when GG is going to be called. I think we might be in here for a little bit longer, but I mean, this game is very close to ending here. Another location is going to be picked off.
GuMiho down to 39 workers as well.
Barely repairs that in time.
And the army supply here for Dark isn't too formidable. Formidable. I can't use that word.
Formidable.
Like a robo, just like rolling my bees. But yeah, it's not too formidable. I think. Oh, I love that Broodlord play. So this is this is karma for all those Terrans abusing like range upgraded Liberators, a launch of Legacy of the Void.
I just realized that Broodlord's a really bad Liberator.
Yeah, it kind of is. But, I mean, GuMiho right now at 112 supply, the income just isn't there, even with all of these orbital commands. And these relatively fresh bases, the income, it's just not enough for him to start to close the supply gap. And, I mean, these mules, if they get cleaned up here at the fourth base for GuMiho, this idle time is just massive.
Yeah.
Those are minerals just down the drain, and Dark knows it. GuMiho knows it. I mean, the end game here for GuMiho, the ideal composition you want to work towards is eventually to mix in some things like potentially even battle cruisers to complement Thors and the siege tanks and truly build, you know, what would be an ultimate Terran army. But
it is funny to see this thing with the Ravagers where like they just shoot the tank down with their biles, and then once the tanks are gone, they just hit the command center.
Yeah.
You know? And so we're going to see this last base fall. I don't know. I think it's probably time to say GG. GuMiho, what do you say?
It does kind of feel that way.
We got battle cruisers, so that's novel.
It is novel. I mean, this has been GuMiho. Well, GuMiho has played this style a number of times, and usually this is kind of where he wants to get. I mean, obviously not while dying, but army composition-wise, as Dark adding some insult to injury here.
Ouch.
Oh my goodness!
GG. Well,
what a way to end that.
That was just.
I think those two neural parasites on the battle cruisers and then the biles coming down on them perfectly encapsulated that last game.
That was a great, you know. So how did the Dark vs. GuMiho game go? And you just show them that. It's like, right.
It's that game in a nutshell. As Dark going to win it. GuMiho just never really able to get the momentum that he needed with that mech composition, because it feels like if you ever run out of steam going for that mech style there as the Terran player, I mean, you're just kind of in your death throes the entire time, especially in a position like that where the Zerg is able to get Broodlords out and start denying bases.
Yeah.
And then you're getting pulled apart by Infestors and Roaches and Ravagers, and it's just not a good situation. So, you know, Dark playing that to perfection.
He played very well. It was very impressive. And this means now we're going to go to the losers match. We're going to be eliminating our first player here in Group C. It's going to be Ryung versus Stats. Good to have Stats back. He was a legend in the past. He doesn't seem to be in great shape now, but hopefully this is a close match.
It's only been about 2 months that he's been really competing here.
Right.
In StarCraft 2 again. So he's picking up speed. Not everyone can be hero and just kind of jump back onto the scene and get into the driver's seat.
I'm back
and
I'm the best again, yeah.
But it should be a good match. I'm hoping we get to see a little bit more mid and late game from Stats than we did in the first series.
Yeah.
I mean, I would at this point I would take even one game.
I would love that. All right, guys, that's all the time we have. Oh, excuse me, we're doing, what am I saying? Congratulations, he says thank you. How do you feel now? Today was much tougher than I expected. Personally, I got more nervous when I played the online matches than offline matches, weirdly. Seems like you were pretty pissed after you lost that. They lost that game to that proxy 3 racks. Yesterday I participated in an online match, and there were a lot of mind games going on then. Seems like the same thing happened here in the GSL as well. I didn't really think that I didn't think I was going to re-experience what happened yesterday again today. So once I saw that it was a proxy rat, I was super upset. I wasn't even focused on the winning ceremony at that moment. Anyways, I collected my thoughts, I regained my composure, and pulled through. In the third game, when you scouted his base, what were you expecting? It seems like GuMiho uses a style that you really hate to play against. Did you notice that he did a very greedy third command center right away? He's like, he didn't seem to know. I was going to review the VODs later, but I guess that's going to make me even more salty if I see that he did a third CC that fast, so maybe I won't. Oh, so you didn't know there was a quick third CC? He says, no, I did not notice that. I had no idea he was being that greedy. I guess I was just wrong. I had a bad read on his build. So let's talk about the match against Stats. You were very aggressive. Was it because you prepared to play like that? Was that your specific, was that the idea at play here? So I've been spying on his stream and studying his playstyle quite a bit, actually. The game did not go as well as I expected. I think if I defended it well like that way, I'm supposed to win on that map. So in general, there were a lot of points that were frustrating for me back there. JYP's asking him straightly, when are you going to shave? When are you going to clean that stuff up on your face, he says. I was thinking about shaving. I can't tell you when, but soon maybe. All right, the suspense build state.
I like the facial hair.
Yeah, I kind of dig it. He looks like a painter. Whose? They're talking about somebody. Somebody else has a beard and mustache. You're talking about, and they said, did that motivate him to do that? But I didn't catch who it was.
Yeah,
sorry,
I'm not sure either.
And I don't think it's me. No.
Oh, it's Ryung.
Oh, okay. Now they're comparing Ryung's mustache to his mustache. He says the original ones are always the coolest ones. It's never the guy that copies. It's as cool. Any words you want to say to your fans before we close this out? So this is the first GSL in the online version. Whenever I play online, I'm always a little bit uneasy. Personally, like I said many times before, there were many mistakes I made in these games, but I'm going to do my very best regardless to try to prepare some great strategies and show you guys a good performance.
Yeah.
There you
go.
All
right.
Yeah. I like his mustache.
I think he looks good with it.
I wonder if I should shave the beard. I should just do what Dark does and just have a little mustache.
Like just like goatee, just the mustache.
The little thing right here.
Yeah, maybe a soul patch.
Yeah, maybe a little soul patch.
I like the beard on you.
Guys, if you want to support GSL, all this money goes to the prize pool. All the details are here on screen. And yeah, man.
$10 a month gets you replay packs. Those are sent out, I believe, on Monday.
That's right. You'll get
should be Monday KST.
The deliverables come on Monday. And so we've got Dark moving on into the round of 8. And we still don't have any Protosses yet.
No, I'm really
feel
sad.
like, yeah, it's actually kind of weird because we started out with not that many
Zergs,
but now it's like, oh, is this actually going to be the Protosses that get boned here?
I don't remember exactly how many Protosses we had at the start of the tournament, but it's not that many. I think the only group that has 2 is in Group D, so we have like, what, 5 Protoss and 3 Zerg?
I think so.
Yeah.
Guys, we're going to go to a break. When we come back, the losers match. You don't want to miss it. We'll be right back.